Folks, welcome into Free Money Football. I'm your host, Ty B. We got Meerkat, Batway joining me, and we got some guy named Stevie here yet again to bring you the best bets of the week for NFL Week 4. Boys, there's a bunch of big games this week, some big spreads, and a ton of opportunity to make free money. Meerkat, we're 3 weeks down into the season so far. Normally, you like to break things down into quarters. We'll have a good a bit of information on all these teams and how they're doing. But how do you think the season's been so far through 3 weeks?
I think it's been a fun season so far. I mean, you're really not getting that many big surprises right now. There's some shock 3-0 teams right now when you look around the league, but things are going to start to even themselves out. I think you're going to start seeing it happen this week. You brought up the quarters. Like, now we're at 17 games, so it's a little weird, but this will be the first quarter of the season done after this week. And I think you're going to see some guys come back down to earth. I think you're going to see some teams come back to form. And I'll just say it right now, I like the board a hell of a lot more than I did last week.
Absolutely there, Meerkat. I'm right there with you. I think there's a ton that we have on all these teams, and you can get some glimpses on their injuries and other little things to find some good value, especially with those player props and other things. I know last week we were all over Bengals receivers, which was great props with Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and all them. Exploiting that Pittsburgh Steelers secondary that was banged up. Stevie, anything big here you're monitoring going into week 4?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the trends have been so far this year. Underdogs 30-18 against the spread so far this season. The unders are 28-20. What does that mean? The public is basically losing money. They love their favorites. They love their overs. So far, we've kind of seen the opposite of that. And it may swing the other way. I don't expect underdogs to keep playing what they're doing. And we expect the books to adjust, right? The lines have been you've been able to take advantage of them so far this year. But now the books are adjusting. They're going to adjust to how these teams actually look this year rather than what we expected them to look. And that's what we're going to see week 4, week 5, week 6 going forward.
Yep, absolutely, Stevie. So let's get into it. We're going to be breaking down our 5 best bets each of the week. And, I'll get it started right here for you guys. I was all over those player props, like I said, with the Bengals receivers going up against the Steelers secondary, who's been banged up. Devin Bush been out. Obviously, TJ Watt's still injured as well. So that pass rush has taken a big hit from what we saw in week 1 against the Bills. I think we're going to see a similar thing here with Aaron Rodgers being able to carve them up, and he's going to get his. So I'm looking, beyond Devontae Adams. He's got a high total there, like around 90 yards, like something like 7-8 catches. So I'm going to stay away from him on that. But I'm going to look at Allen Lazard, only 30.5 yards, hammering that over. I really like it in this one. He's a guy who Aaron Rodgers can trust. We saw him really build a lot of chemistry with him last year, and he turned into an actual commodity within fantasy football. And this season hasn't put up any big numbers really yet, but I think this is a game here where if you're the Steelers, you're probably double teaming Devontae Adams all day long. So I think it's a good spot here for Allen Lazard to get a bunch of yards, a bunch of grabs. Stevie, where are you targeting for your first play?
So I'm going to take the Seahawks +3. And the reason I'm taking the Seahawks, first off, I want to take it because I'm taking it ahead of Meerkat. I'm giving it out as my first play. Secondly, we talked about this. We talked about this on Wednesday's show, Meerkat. It's Russell Wilson versus Jimmy G, and Russell Wilson is the dog. And if I'm getting points with Russell Wilson versus Jimmy G, I'm taking it blindly every time. But not only that, Kyle Shanahan's just not very good as a favorite as a head coach. 8-19-1 as a favorite. Russell Wilson 20-11-2 as a road underdog. The Seahawks have kind of struggled a little bit so far this year. They've played some poor second halves, and I expect them to come out ahead early against the 49ers. Russell Wilson, just such a better quarterback than Jimmy G. I love the weapons with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And the 49ers are banged up. We really don't know what to expect from their running back room this week, just like we did last week. And so far, their 3 opponents they faced, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, all had good passing games against them. The Seahawks, how do they move the ball? They move the ball through the air and downfield. They can expose this 49ers secondary, which isn't great. And like I said, don't overthink it. You're getting points with Russell Wilson. Give it to me every time as the underdog against Jimmy G. Seahawks +3.
Absolutely great angle right there, Stevie. Meerkat, what do you got for your first pick?
I'm just going to bounce right off of that then and give out my Seahawks. It's a double play, going 2 units on Seahawks plus 2.5. Got it plus 3 earlier in the week, so don't love to see it moving in the Seahawks direction there. And then a unit on the money line at plus 120 right now. It's just great value there. I'm going to throw a few things around, get myself a little insurance because I'm going to keep fading the 49ers as long as Jimmy Garoppolo is their starting quarterback. And we talked about it a little bit. Even when Trey Lance comes in, I love Trey Lance, but he's going to need a bit as a starter to come into his own. So the 49ers, the public loves them. Coming into the season, people were picking them for the Super Bowl and such. I think I took their under 10 wins when we went over the futures. I just want to fade this team. I don't see it with them other than the coaching and the creativity on offense. And now that running back room, very banged up. Jimmy G, I mean, he's doing enough. He's got good receivers, but you got Kittle now, questionable heading into this one. He says he's going to go if his body lets him, which even if he goes, that doesn't sound like he's going to be near 100%. And the 49ers, are just 1-2 against the spread this year, not covering great. Seahawks need a get-right game. This could be it for them against, a big-time opponent in the 49ers. I'm trusting in Wilson in that offense.
Yep, absolutely. That's a great play right there, Meerkat and Stevie. Both you guys on the same page. I love to see it. The synchronicity between the two of you was phenomenal. Hopefully that means we're all on the winning side on that one. For my next pick, I'm going to go here on that Chiefs-Eagles game. The Chiefs haven't covered in like 16 weeks, or they've covered once in the last 16 or 17 weeks.
Yeah.
The spread. Something's got to change, and they're playing an Eagles team who just gave up a shit ton of yards and points to the Dallas Cowboys. I think this is a game where the Chiefs have to get right and are going to look to put up some points. I think this is a game where Patty Mahomes is going to go off and let everyone know why he is the best quarterback in the league. So I'm going to have to take the Chiefs laying just a touchdown here in this one because eventually they're going to have to start covering the spread again. And I think this is a spot here where everything's sort of right for that to happen. Just with the matchup, the Eagles secondary has been bad for the past few seasons, and they haven't figured things out. It's not getting any better. They're going to have a ton of opportunities to put up points, and I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to put up enough to cover that, touchdown spread. I think it's a 10-point plus victory for the Chiefs in that one. We've been high on Jalen Hurts, but last week a huge step back. He just looked lost out there against the Cowboys. And even later on in the game, he's dropping back to pass. 1, 2, 3, doesn't see his read. He's immediately out of the pocket, just looking to do something and running all over the place and not making anything actually happen. So I'm a bit worried there about their offense. Hopefully, they can do some more things to get Jalen Hurts some easy plays, whether it's, some dump offs with Gainwell or screens, little things like that to really get him going. I think that could help, but I'm not sold on him. I'm riding with the Chiefs in this one to finally right the ship there against the spread.
Yeah,
you got to fade Sirianni after his play calling last week.
Yeah.
And I love that call with the Chiefs because you think about it, next week they got the Bills in Arrowhead. The Chiefs do not want to be 1-3 in that game in a must-win situation. And when the rest of their division is balling out, you got the Broncos and Raiders both 3-0, the Chargers 2-1. I think this is a must-win week for the Chiefs. I think they stomp the Eagles as well. But for my second play, Ty, I'm going with another team in the AFC West, but I'm not taking them. I'm taking their total. It's the Ravens Broncos. I'm taking the under 45. Now, here's the big thing here. I don't want to bet against Teddy Two Gloves against the spread. He's 38-13 in his career. And I don't think the Ravens stomp them. Everyone's overreacting to how the Broncos have looked so far because they beat the Giants, they beat the Jets, and they beat the Jaguars. Yes, those teams are combined 0-10 record, and the Broncos defense has been elite. But we were talking about this in the offseason. They are a good defense. It doesn't matter that they've played a funfetti cupcake schedule. They are a very good defense, and they have a very, very good run defense. And that they're going to be able to contain the Ravens' rushing attack, kind of like what the Lions did last week. I was really impressed by how they really played a lot of contained defense. They made sure Lamar couldn't beat them to the outside, and they forced the Ravens to kind of go up the field, throw down the field, and it didn't really work. It was a low-scoring affair. The Broncos' offense on the other side, they are not an explosive play offense. It's a lot of conservative dumps, a lot of running with Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. I expect this total to go pretty pretty under 45. I love it under 45 because I expect this to be like a 2017 game. I'm not sure who's going to win, but you got a team that wants to run the ball against an elite run defense. And really the only passing plays the Ravens are great at are just those deep bombs down the field. And the Broncos have an elite secondary. I've talked about their secondary all year long, and I'm going to continue talking about it. I'm not overreacting to how bad the opponents they faced before. I do think Denver is one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they can contain the Ravens to a bit. And the Ravens, as we know, pretty solid defense, pretty solid team. And what happens when you run the ball all the time? The clock just keeps on ticking, and I think we'll see a pretty quick game. I like the under 45.
Yeah, I like that play. I don't bet totals, but if I did, I'd probably tell you on that one. But my next play, it's going to be another double play on a dog this week. Another 2 units on the Lions +3, 1 unit on their money line +125. This is the week for the Lions. This is the week they have to get it done. They've been frisky all year, 2-1 against the spread so far. You see them, especially in the second half, really turning it up. But sure, garbage time yards and points, call it whatever you want. I call it a team covering. And you got Dan Campbell and this squad, coming off a week where they're a win away, or a NFL record field goal away from beating a good Ravens team and having a little chip on their shoulder. Yeah. So they're ready to fire this week, and I think this is their best time to, kind of strike. We're going against a Bears team who Matt Nagy said the starting quarterback is going to be a game-time decision. You never want to hear that, especially after what you saw last week, how mismanaged Justin Fields was and how bad that offensive line is. Any quarterback they have is going to be under fire. David Montgomery's great. Those receivers are great, but if they don't have a quarterback or an offensive line, that offense can't function. Matt Nagy is incompetent. I'm going to fade him every chance I get. Is Dan Campbell incompetent? Way more than Matt Nagy, but he's a madman. He is crazy. You hear his press conferences, you see the shit he does. I will bet on that man with his back against the wall, with his best chance to win after, what happened to him last week. These guys are going to want to come out and fire. It's just a gut play. I love the 49ers this week. You saw what Chubb and Hunt did last week to the Bears defense. Tore it up. We got Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift now, kind of the light version of that duo, but both of them have been crushing it this year. And I love DeAndre Swift, regardless if he killed somebody or not. He's a great running back this year. His usage is going to be increased, and I think he's got a chance to eat this week. Heavy on the Lions.
I like that play right there, Meerkat. Nagy has been abysmal as a coach for the past few seasons, and he looks like he might ruin Justin Fields, which is a bit unfortunate. But on to our next picks here. And I'm going to keep it rolling here. Stevie, you already talked about this game here, Broncos Ravens. I feel like this is a game where public is going to be all over the Ravens. This is the game where the Broncos come down to earth and blah, blah, blah. Not so fast. Teddy Bridgewater against the spread is incredible. They're only getting 1 point. Teddy Bridgewater is going to get this win. Like you said, I don't think the Broncos necessarily are one of the most elite teams in the league, but with the defense they have, they're going to get some wins against some good teams because of that. And this is a spot here where I don't think the Ravens have, the tools to be able to beat them. You saw Marquise Brown with some big drops last week. If he does that again, there's no chance they're going to be able to win this game. You're going to have to maximize all of your opportunities against a defense like this, a secondary like that, and, a front seven that can get after you. And they're going to make it tough to run, like you mentioned, Stevie. I'm going with the Broncos in this one. I just trust them a lot more than I trust what the Ravens are doing right now.
Yeah, I like that pick, Ty. I think this game could go either way, and Broncos are one of those teams that have a good home field advantage. It's tough to run up at 5,200 feet, so I like that pick a lot. I've waited long enough, so my third pick, we're going to go a little Stevie bias here. Let's go with the Rams, -4.5 at home.
Homer.
The Cardinals. Yeah. Homer.
I love the play. I'm kidding.
Sean McVay owns Arizona. He owns that city. He's 8-0 versus the Cardinals, and he's 7-0-1 against the spread, and he's won by 160 combined points. That's 20 points a game in the 8 games. And the Cardinals, I think they're, dare I say the F word, a little bit frauds here. I know they're 3-0, but they were a 37-yard missed field goal by the Vikings away from being 2-1. And they're 0-5 against the spread. The last 5 games, they played teams with a winning record. And Kyler Murray, he has struggled against the Rams so far in his career, and the Rams defense is still good. It's still very good. And I think with Stafford now, they have that vertical attack that can expose a bad Cardinals secondary, by far the weakest point of their team. I like the Rams to win this pretty comfortably. I think they're going to show that they are the best team in the NFC West. And you know what? If the Rams somehow don't cover this and lose this game, come back and make fun of me because I will just be miserable. But I think it's a lock. I think the Rams win by at least a touchdown this game. Sean McVay owns the Cardinals, and Matt Stafford has opened up this Rams offense.
Really love that play. I'm going to be taking that. I'm going to probably be teasing the Rams and a bunch of stuff too, just for a little bit of insurance. But the Cardinals, overrated. I mean, especially, first half, if they come out flat again against the Rams team, no chance in this one. But I'd be remiss not taking a Bills play. I'll have props and stuff Sunday, I'm sure. But right now, I was so tempted to give out the -17. I'm probably going to be taking the -17, but I don't want to give it out to you guys. So I got a Bills second half spread right now at -7.5. I like that a lot. You look at the Bills outside of Pittsburgh abnormality. I don't count that towards any Bills stats this year towards gambling because it was our trap game. It was our rat trap. Got it out of the way. People are speculating that this week. I don't see it happening. Houston is just not a good team. And you look at the Bills so far, their past 2 wins, they outscored Miami 21-0 in the second half. They outscored Washington 16-7 in the second half. This team, dating back to last season, I believe their last 9 wins have all been by double digits. And in the third quarter, the Bills' point differential has been really good. They come out of halftime, sometimes start a bit slow. You see it with the offense here and there. They'll be misfiring the first quarter, so catch some steam heading into half. And then third quarter, that's when we're going to bury this team, in my opinion. So, -17, if you want to have some fun, go take that. But if you want a nice safe number, I don't think we're going into halftime up 35-0. They're going to start Trubisky going in half. I think the Texans can be a little frisky. I think maybe we start a little slow, you saw it in Pittsburgh where we're like, oh, this is a win. We got all the hype now and stuff. We're back. I don't think we're in trouble of losing this game at all. Don't get me wrong, but we might start a little slow. So I love that second half spread.
Yep, Meerkat, I do agree with you on that one. I think the Texans are going to have to give 1,000% to have any chance in this. So you're going to exhaust yourself there in the first half trying to keep things close. So I'm there with you on that second half play. For my fourth play, I'm going to go with the Saints -7. Listen to my reasoning here on this one. It's nice and simple for you guys. The Falcons fucking suck. And they beat the Giants.
I agree.
Therefore, Giants really, really fucking suck. Hate the Giants. Jameis hasn't been great, but they haven't asked a ton of him. I think he's only thrown like 68 times, but he's thrown for like 380 yards, something like that. Let him cook. Let him do some stuff. This Giants defense is not good. I think this is a game where Jameis and the Saints offense can get right and really figure things out as they get into some more tougher opponents. It's going to be a slugfest in that NFC South. So this is a game where the Saints have to get a win. Just laying a touchdown again, maybe move it to 6.5. Love the play though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that, Ty. I mean, you said it. The Falcons suck, and guess what? You know what? I have retired the Falcons. I will never bet on the Falcons, but I will continue to bet against the Falcons. They screwed me last week. I don't care. I'm going right back to the well. Give me the football team -1 against the Falcons. It's pretty simple for me here. The Falcons' offense isn't good this year. We knew their defense was going to be bad, but their offense is just as bad. They just aren't moving the ball down the field. They're not making big plays. And this Washington football team, everyone talked about, they're going to have such a great front seven. They're going to get after the quarterback, lead the NFL in sacks, and they've been a huge disappointment, probably the biggest disappointment so far in the NFL season. I think this is the get-right week for this Washington defense. I think they're going to get after Matt Ryan. I think Chase Young is going to eat, and I think they're going to force turnovers. And when they do that, they can win the game because Heineke hasn't been horrible, but he hasn't been great. But it was in tough spots, right? You have a short week against the Giants when you're the starter, and then you have to play in Buffalo. I think Washington will – I don't know how this is a pick-em game. I think they're a much better team than the Falcons. I think they can get out ahead early and just let that defense carry them. And not to mention, Antonio Gibson, a little questionable. Could we see some Jarrett Patterson here? Because this is the perfect defense for him to make a name for himself. I love the Washington football team this week. I think you're getting a very fair number because everyone's overreacting to how bad they looked. I think this is their get-right week against a bad Falcons team.
Yeah, you got to take advantage of those games. I think there's a few get-right games this week. Yeah. We were talking about that on Wednesday, and that's why I love the board this week, because this is where the first quarter of the season, like Ty brought up, things are going to start. You're going to see them even themselves out. But something, if I didn't have this eerie feeling, because the entire world is fading Bill Belichick right now, if I didn't have this eerie feeling about that, I'd pull out the hammer right now and make it a 3-unit play. But I'm still giving it out. Bucks -7. You have to. I'm taking the Bucks every which way. I might take every player prop over. I still don't know. I'm scared to death of it. Don't get me wrong. Everybody else is thinking the same thing. Tom Brady, greater than Bill Belichick. He's going to come back to Foxborough after winning a Super Bowl. He's having an MVP caliber season. He's going to drop his nutsack across of New England's collective faces. I mean, that's what we're all expecting. I really do believe that happens. This Bucs offense is very good. It can compete with a good Patriots defense, but the Patriots offense against this Bucs defense is another story. Yes, the Patriots have a good offensive line. Bucs front seven is kind of their strength, but Mac Jones hasn't looked great, and the Bucs secondary is good. And you have a coach, you talk about Belichick being the best coach ever. Yeah, I mean, I won't disagree, I guess, but that's another conversation. He's going against Bruce Arians, though. It's not like Bruce Arians is a slouch. This man is an offensive genius. He's coming off a Super Bowl win. He's very smart, a very savvy veteran in this league. So I don't even give New England that much of a coaching advantage in this one. You saw the Brady greater than Belichick last year. And New England 1-2 against the spread this year. Well, these Bucs, I'm going to go back to last season with spread stats, because the roster's the same, are 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 and 5-0 after a loss. So they're coming off of that rough loss. Brady back to New England, all the storylines hyping it up. 7's kind of a big number. I truly believe the Bucs win by 20.
I'm right there with you, Meerkat. And get ready to cash one of your preseason tickets, because Tom Brady is going to break the record. I think he needs less than 100 yards.
Yeah. I forgot I gave that one out, actually. Yes. That's a little exciting. Brady to break the passing record against the Patriots week 4. It was only like plus 175. I mean, it was scripted to happen.
Yeah, the math worked out almost perfectly.
Literally, yeah.
I thought it was going to be like, he might still need 170 or 250 or something like that. But no,
he's only get it in the first half.
He's going to get it. And because of that, and knowing the type of guy Tom Brady is, that's not going to affect him. He's not going to let that get to him, and it's not going to, cause him to get off his game. Getting a standing ovation and, blah, 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 whatever else, happens, any sort of recognition, that's, in one ear and out the other for a guy like Tom Brady. He'll enjoy that after, when he's kissing his kids, but not on the field. It's not going to affect his play. So Meerkat, I feel pretty safe about that pick as well. I think everyone and their mother is going to be on it. I think that has been the most heavily bet line of the week. Not positive on that. I have to double check, but I think I saw that from some of the books coming into today as we're recording here on Saturday for you guys. But on to our last picks of the week. And for mine, I'm looking at that Monday night football game, Raiders, Chargers. Raiders, they've been bit up and down here on their over-under totals, and the Chargers, 3 straight unders for a team that everyone thought was going to be putting up a ton of points. Their defense has been very good, and their offense is doing enough to get them wins. But here in this game, I think this is just going to be an AFC West slugfest. I'm going with that over 52. I'm rooting for excitement on Monday night. I'm rooting for a ton of Hunter Renfrow catches. I'm rooting for, let's see, who else do I got on those teams? Do I got anyone else? No, that's about it. So you know what I mean? It's just one of those matchups where, why would you bet the under? It looks like it's going to be an exciting game on paper. Let's root for an exciting game. Let's go with the over. I think this is the game where the Chargers offense breaks through for a lot of points, because guess what? The Raiders defense has given up a lot, and they've done just enough to win. They've been throwing the ball all over the yard. I think we're going to see a ton more of that. They've been doing a pretty good job. Obviously, needing overtime twice for some of their victories here already, which leaves you for a bit concerned. That's why I'm staying away from making a pick on this game, and I'm going to go with the over 52. Justin Herbert, Derek Carr going to light things up for me, Stevie.
I love that, Ty. It's engraved in my brain that the Raiders play exciting primetime games. It just always feels like that, so I just blindly take their overs when they're in primetime.
Yeah, and one of their unders was by a half a point or something.
Exactly. And we love Justin Herbert here, so he can score against this Raiders defense pretty easily. I love that pick. I have an under or an over for my last pick. I gave out a dog. I gave out a favorite. I gave out an under. Gave out kind of a pick 'em. And now we give the over. It's Browns Vikings over 51.5. Breaking news to everyone here. Kirk Cousins is good. Get that in your head. He is a good quarterback, and he's got a lot of weapons. It does not matter if Delvin Cook plays. They'll throw in Alexander Madison, and he'll do exactly what he needs to do. He's not as great as Cook, but he's fine in that role. The Browns defense has looked great so far this year, but let's remember they played the Bears and the Texans the last 2 weeks. The Vikings are a completely different animal on the offensive side of the ball, and their defense isn't very good and not great against the run, allowing 120 rushing yards a game, which means the Browns will do what they want to do, just run down your throats with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I think both these teams just score on one another, and it's going to be a really exciting game. Meerkat and I talked about this earlier. It feels like a 34-31, 31-28 game, just two really good offenses. The defenses, the Browns defense is good, but I think they haven't really been tested too much. They were tested in week 1 against the Chiefs, and they gave up around 440 yards. I think the Vikings offense is much closer to the Chiefs than it is the Texans and the Bears. And last week, the Browns had the best defense ever. They gave up 60 yards, 1.1 yards per play against the Bears. It's going to regress back a little bit. The Vikings may get more than 60 yards in the first drive. So I like the Vikings and Browns to go over 51.5. I think right now it's the Vikings are 2-point dogs at home, so the books expect it to be a close game. I don't really see either team blowing out the other one. I think it's going to be good competitive football, and the Vikings have played really exciting games so far this year. I expect another shootout.
Love that there, Stevie. Meerkat, you gotta wrap things up here. What do you got for us? You got us a little free money present?
I got some free money fuckery right now for the last play. Last year, absolutely killed it on DDZ, giving out teasers every week. I mean, this year I've been doing great with teasers. And so this was a 3-team, 6-point teaser. I really like this week. All 3 of the spreads, I just don't have the balls to take right now. I like them, but I want to buy myself a little insurance with those 6 points. So they are going to be the Ravens plus 5.5, the Panthers plus 11 versus the Cowboys, and the Colts plus 8 versus the Dolphins. I mean, like I said, all games I like the spread, just giving myself a little insurance. The Ravens, this is a game I think is going to be very, very close with the Broncos. You guys have both already pointed at it. I don't like them to win, but getting 5.5 points in a game where, we think where they're going under a low total, I like that a lot for a good Ravens team who, as long as Lamar Jackson's their quarterback, are going to be in any game. And then the Panthers are a good team. I know I've been fading the Cowboys every chance I can get, and it bit me in the ass last week. It really did. But I like the Panthers. They're a good team. They're coached very well. You're seeing Sam Darnold play great, and you're seeing that defense, especially that secondary, thrive this year. So maybe they can shut down Dallas's offense, but give them some fits. Plus 11 is a massive number there for that type of matchup. And then the Colts, me and you talked about it. Me and you both, Stevie, we both like the Colts. But it's just, how can we give this game out? They've looked so bad. Right. The Colts need a win. They're severely underrated. They are not an 0-3 team, and Miami coming to this one as favorites is just straight up disrespectful. Yeah. I mean, I hate it. Jacoby Brissett and that offense aren't going to inspire you. That defense has looked awful. The Colts need a get-right game. They should be able to do more than enough. I think they crushed Miami this week, just throwing them in there, but I do like that spread itself. Yeah, you get plus 175 on this, so why not? Free money fuckery.
You got to love it, moving those lines around a little bit and getting yourself plus value. Sign me up all day, and that's why you tune into Free Money Football, for the fuckery, for the money, and to win it all on Sundays, Mondays, and I guess Thursdays too. No Tuesdays and Wednesdays and all that this year, thankfully. But I think there's a ton of opportunities this week to make a lot of money. We're finally figuring out who teams really are. Some of these injuries are playing out, and you're able to take some advantages. So make sure you guys continue to stay tuned to Free Money Football, where we're going to be breaking things down for you every Wednesday, taking an early look at some of these lines and some of these games, giving you some leans and some storylines to look at going into them. And then every Sunday morning here, breaking down our best bets of the week for you. Meerkat, Stevie, any last thoughts from you guys before we get out of here for the day? We're going to be, I know it's Saturday right now, but we're going to pretend it's Sunday morning when they're watching. How you feeling going into this slate?
I'm just excited to watch games. And, besides these 5 picks, I know Meerkat and I, we're going to give out more picks because we love it. We love football. We're going to give out picks all week, all games, no matter what. So just tune in to Degenerate Change Zones, Trainwreck Sports, anything, really. We are going to put them out wherever we can. I love football season. I know Meerkat does too. I can't wait to watch some games.
Stevie wrapped it up perfect for me. I'm ready to fire away this weekend. I'm feeling good about it. I just can't wait to watch some of these games. We got some incredible football this weekend.
Yeah. Absolutely, we do. So get your hammers out and get ready. Doesn't matter if you're going down to the creek. Doesn't matter if you're calling in your bets, texting in your bets. Do whatever you got to do. Get out there and get that free money